if you've been following me for the last 9 years or so, you've heard me talk about how when a certain group of white people want to make black people blacker than black, and what I mean by blacker than black, they want to play into a stereotype that we're rough, we're violent, we're insensitive, we're racist, violent. We don't respect our women. Women don't respect their men. All these negative things they pull out of certain people. They play on certain tropes. And the most common trope is to play on is using Mr. Farrakhan as the boogeyman. Now, there's many reasons why they use Farrakhan, but mostly they use Farrakhan to sort of scare blacks. If you guys don't denounce or reject him, we're going to come after you. We're going to punish you. And for a long time, and even to this day, it still works among certain black people, especially if brothers and sisters only know a Farrakhan from sound bites or what they thought they know about Farrakhan. I've stated in various commentaries that when I was a kid, like most people, I believed what adults told, what my parents told me about Farrakhan, because the media narrative had presented Farrakhan in such a negative light. And it's crazy that at the same time, Malcolm would be seen in a somewhat different light. And a lot of people say because he disassociated himself with the nation. But the thing is, it was more of an internal struggle. Malcolm was forced out by certain members of the nation. And I don't have to get into it. If you know the story, you know the story. Or if you think you know the story, fine. But nonetheless, Mr. Farrakhan has never told any of his followers to commit any acts of aggression against anybody, white or black. But the narrative has been presented since when Malcolm was with the nation, and even more so after Malcolm's assassination, that the nation is a violent, anti-Semitic hate group. And that's not true. Now, the 80s was a different time for blacks in politics, because we wasn't that far removed from the civil rights era. You just a decade removed from it. And there was still the black men and black women who were teenagers or young adults getting in their 30s or early 40s getting into politics or making their voices be heard. And us being Generation X, and especially those of us who are a younger part of Generation X, we were still involved in what was going on in the community. We couldn't vote for none of these people, but we wore their pens. We talked about them. We listened to what they had to say. And you had a segment of white America that was afraid that black people would get in power and black people would do to them what they've done to us. And that's not how we get down. When Merrill Washington won, his problems wasn't from white Republicans. His issues were from Democrats, white Democrats. And white Democrats for years have been pushing this Farrakhan is anti-Semite bull crap. Now, I remember when this stuff started and how it started, and I got curious and I did my own research. And I remember one day, I can't remember the radio station that played it, but I remember when they played the speech that Farrakhan supposedly had said, gutter religion, in its entire context. And even as a little kid, I realized that he wasn't talking about Jewish people, just saying, oh, they're gutter religion. No, he was saying that some people practice a gutter religion, just like the Catholics and other groups who practice religious beliefs. But because he's critical of the Jewish community, he was deemed as anti-Semitic. And since 1984, that's the trope that the media has been putting out. Now, when Obama was in office, nobody uttered Farrakhan's name unless they were trying to spread some misinformation. But I had warned y'all, I said, they're going to need a bad guy to go to. Why don't you stop putting out Farrakhan or Reverend Wright name? Well, they know that Reverend Wright doesn't have the history or the sound bites that Mr. Farrakhan has. And the thing is, they made him a bad guy during the '08 election. They said they won't work now. Because people say we just picking on a man. So let's go to the tried and true. when white women overwhelmingly voted for Donald Trump, they tried to push that crap back on the black community. White media was too afraid to call it what it is. So they said we need to find a boogeyman. We just can't go after Donald Trump because we might get banned from the White House, or our white viewers might get mad at us. So we got to go out here and find a black boogeyman. So they stopped pulling Farrakhan's name out all of a sudden. They went after him, Tamika Mallory, because she went to not Million Man March, Savior's Day. And I'm like, you guys making Farrakhan relevant again? Then all of a sudden, Jake Tapper kept talking about it. And then you had people in the press talk about it. But the thing was white supremacists who was shooting up those synagogues and stuff, they wasn't followers of the Nation of Islam. They're white supremacists. But they wasn't going to call out those organizations whose name they know. No, say the Nation of Islam and just say white supremacists. It wasn't a member of the Nation of Islam that killed that white woman down in Charlottesville. It was a white man that was marching and saying the things they were saying. But they kept drawing Farrakhan's name out of there because the people in the media are afraid to call white supremacy. The people in the law enforcement or in the legal system are afraid to go after the neo-Nazis and the Ku Klux Klan and the skinheads and so forth. In order for a white villain to exist, it got to be a black villain to coexist. I've stated this many times. And the thing is that when Facebook decided that it was going to ban Farrakhan, you had people like Bakari Sellers out there praising them. Yes, this brother's on CNN. He's a coon. Oh, people say, well, he runs for the left. Let me say this again. Just because somebody got a D in front of their name don't mean they down. Because the blacks still on CNN, they are scared to speak truth to power. They say just enough to like they pushing back. But they never go that far. Bakari Sellers' only claim to fame is that his daddy was a civil rights activist. And he went in, he got elected really young for I think City Hall, or state position. And he's on TV telling people that Facebook did right, Farrakhan's anti-Semitic. Joy Reid the other day said yes, Farrakhan has a long history of saying anti-Jewish stuff, anti-Semitic stuff. Really? These are black people pushing this lie. And it's disgusting. They ain't the only one. And the thing is, we expecting them to push back and say enough is enough, but they won't do it. This is why that lie's been going on for 35 years, because you had black people amening it. Not one time has anybody from the nation gone out and committed any acts of murder or crime against somebody because of their religious belief or their sexual identity. There are some people out here that still believe in Farrakhan, and a lot of them are not black. I know that people be shocked to hear that there are white people that support Minister Farrakhan, and Father Michael Pfleger is one of them. I'm gonna play some audio from the last few days, and I'll come back with my rest of my commentary.
Days after being banned from Facebook, tonight Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan is fighting back with some help from Father Michael Pfleger. During a speech tonight at St. Sabina, he asked everyone to stream it live on social media. CBS 2's Dana Kozlov is live at the church in Gresham tonight. Good evening, Dana.
Good evening, Brad. This 2.5-hour event wrapped up a short time ago, occurring on the premise of protecting free speech.
There are Christians, there are Muslims, there is black and white and brown.
Father Michael Pfleger welcomes a packed church at St. Sabina this evening before introducing his invited guest, Nation of Islam leader, Minister Louis Farrakhan, inviting him to speak at the Catholic Church after Farrakhan was banned from Facebook.
This is the same Facebook that has been live streaming shootings, attempted rapes, white supremacists, racial name-calling, and countless other violent and racist acts.
Flager says he extended his pulpit to the controversial Nation of Islam leader on principle.
It is dangerous to me when we begin to stop free speech and seek to silence prophetic voices.
Farrakhan supporters were asked to Facebook Live the minister's comments, which dozens did. Farrakhan was just one of several people banned from the social media site, Facebook officials calling them dangerous. Farrakhan has been criticized for his anti-Semitic rhetoric in the past. Tonight, Farrakhan talked of censorship after bringing up the U.S. Constitution and alluding to free speech.
You find that there's not another human being on this earth that speaks like Farrakhan, that challenges like Farrakhan, that has the wisdom of Farrakhan.
In my personal opinion, I've never heard him say anything that was hateful. He may say things into rebut issues and comments of others.
Say supporters who also voiced concerns about limiting free speech as reasons they intended. But at a news conference earlier at the Illinois Holocaust Museum, officials there expressed concerns about giving Farrakhan the pulpit. We hope that the platform tonight will be focused in a positive way on our common humanity and the power of words for good. I reached out to Facebook this afternoon for comment. They did not respond. A Chicago Archdiocese spokesperson also says that this event was not sponsored by the Archdiocese, and in fact, Cardinal Cupich was not consulted before the invitation to Farrakhan was extended. Live in Gresham, Dana Kozlov, CBS 2 News. Brad?
Okay, Dana, thank you.
A rally has been set for tomorrow night to protest Facebook's ban on Minister Louis Farrakhan. The event supporting the Nation of Islam leader will be held at St. Sabina Catholic Church. The church's pastor, Father Michael Flager, invited Farrakhan to attend and respond to what he calls an outrage. Facebook banned Farrakhan as well as a right-wing figure like Alex Jones, Milo Yiannopoulos, in a crackdown on what it deems as hate speech, dangerous people or organizations.
Let me see the other one. They might be out of context. Let me see. Let me try to go back and see. And you guys gotta forgive me because I want to play one. Let me play this. See what happens.
Cardinal Blaise Cupich says he was not consulted about a controversial appearance by Minister Louis Farrakhan at St. Sabina Church. Father Michael Flager invited the Nation of Islam leader to a rally at the Catholic Church last night. Farrakhan was recently banned from Facebook and Instagram. The social media sites say that Farrakhan and other extremists promote hate speech specifically against Jewish people, something that Farrakhan denies. I'm here to separate the good Jews from the satanic Jews. I have not said one word of hate. No, sir. I do not hate Jewish people. Not one that is with me has ever committed a crime against the Jewish people. Black people, white people, no matter what your color is. As long as you don't attack us, we don't bother. Some area Jewish leaders, including Holocaust survivors, say that Flager should not have given Farrakhan that platform.
Now, that's very paternalistic for so-called members of the Jewish community to tell Father Flager or anybody that we, as black folk, we can listen to. This ain't the first time they've done this. Now, I will say this about the Jewish community that just pissed me off about the entire community, is that when white supremacists crawl their ass out of the woodwork and whatnot, they don't give news conference like this directed at one person. The reason why white people go after Farrakhan is because he's not afraid of them. He calls them out on their BS. And white people don't like you calling them out on their BS. Now, I'm not saying this is all white people way of thinking, but a large number of white people in this country want to be able to do shit and not get called out on it. This is why white people love Donald Trump, because they know he's dirty. They know that he's a thief. They know he's a racist. But the more he pushed back, like, you're not going to do this, I'm not cooperating, they love him because they live vicariously through people like Trump or the late Ronald Reagan or John Wayne. They get off on that. That's why, and when they see a father, Michael Flagler, a white man not taking their side, they get mad. You should have seen the comments on the social media here for the various news channels in Chicago. You even had Hispanics talking about Farrakhan. And I know damn well they didn't hear Farrakhan speak. But the irony is, when they're in trouble, they looking towards a Jesse Jackson or a Farrakhan and them to come to their defense. That's why I have stated that black folk, we have to be a little bit more selective of who we stand with. Now, a lot of people try to figure out, why is Father Michael Flagler so willing to put his neck out there? He's a white man. He's a Catholic priest. Well, let me tell you all the story as I know it, as he has spoke about it. When Dr. King came to Chicago, King was not met with open arms. People didn't want King here. They didn't want their attention. So when King and them was going through Gage Park and Marquette Park on the southwest side of town, because those areas are known to not let black folks move in. And to this day, there ain't many blacks in those areas because it's mostly Hispanic. It's still whites up in there, but it's not a lot like they was back when our parents were kids or even when I was a kid. It's mostly Hispanic now. And Hispanics don't want blacks up in there too tough. Crazy, ain't it? Well, anyways, Flagler and them lived in that area. They knew that the marchers was going back to Marquette Park to I wouldn't say retreat, but re-up, not the word re-up. What word I'm looking for? Return. All of them, they got a central spot where they got the cars parked there, whatever. And what happened was, when King and them was marching, that famous video or picture of King get hit in the head, that was in Marquette Park. And Flagler was a teenager. He said he remember seeing neighbors, people that worked with his parents, people he went to school with. And he said he'd never seen that kind of hate before. He saw people with the Nazi symbols. Remember they show those clips of the guys in the white beaters? That's Chicago. That's not the South. The Nazi signs, that's Chicago. That's not the South. Down south, the Klan. Up here, the Klan and neo-Nazis, the white power, all that stuff. And he said that shook him. And he saw how King handled it. And he was impressed by it. He said that would help lead him to go the religious path. A few years later, King was assassinated. He was on the west side. I forget the name of the school, but it's right off the Eisenhower and Western Avenue. It's sitting right there in that corner. He said he saw the west side in flames. He knew it was an anger, it was hurt. But he also knew there was people doing things they shouldn't have been doing. But that further made him want to help people, to bridge that divide. And he's from Chicago. And he knows Chicago, just like I know Chicago has a racial history. An evil, 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 evil racial history. And from that point on, since 1968, or you can maybe say 1966, he's been a supporter of the black community. If you listen to this man, you think he's been around black folk a long time. His adopted son is black. Do I agree with everything he says? No. Because some of it is from a bygone era. That's the things ain't going to work from years ago to today. And you got to be a little bit tougher. But he's a Catholic priest. So there's only so much he can say and do. But this man's been consistent in support of the black community. He said there's a sickness in white America. And white folk in Chicago don't like him. They do not like him because he don't repeat their talking points. He knows that Mr. Farrakhan didn't say. He even said it in interviews over the years. He said Mr. Farrakhan's not anti-Semitic. He said, I sat at the table or been around him when he spoke to Jewish leaders and whatnot. And those Jewish leaders know he's not anti-Semitic. but they're afraid to call those in the media or those with the ADL who kept pushing that lie and that myth. See, I get the reporters of that time frame doing. They had a lot of racial animus. Go back and read some of the reporters in the newscasts. Remember, around that same time, the very same reporters have sent those 5 brothers, the Central Park 5, to jail. Remember, the same politicians, the same people were believing that the black community is more violent than any other community. All these negative things that they was pushing, and they still push today. And you got people like Father Flake and them say that's not true. But we don't have a bunch of white folk out there. And the white folks that do come out and do it, some of them mean well, and some of them, they want to be the only one to get to speak. And we in the black community can't keep letting that happen. This is why a lot of us talk about we need our own media. We need our own channels. We need certain things to do. Because I'm going to be honest with you, anytime I talk about anything dealing with white folk, YouTube censor it. Just like Facebook. That's why they shut down Farrakhan. And the thing is, Farrakhan don't give a bunch of speeches like he used to. They just need a black boogeyman to give cover when people say, why are you banning this person, not that person? There are a lot of people that out here, and I warned y'all, they was going to start going after Farrakhan again. They was going to start banning people. Google and Facebook need to be broken apart. These companies need the fairness doctrine back. Because these people have sat back for years and spread lies. Rush Limbaugh got a Facebook page, a YouTube channel. Bill O'Reilly, all these people got it that they could have went after. But we go after somebody that ain't been speaking in years or ain't been on press. But unless you see Farrakhan on a national televised program. Seriously, he was on Donahue, and that was back when the war started. Back in 2003. When Donahue had a show on MSNBC, you ain't seen Farrakhan since. Farrakhan's been related to YouTube channels, and that's usually people that post up stuff that he said, and if people listen to his stuff in its entirety, they'll tell you he ain't on hate speech. The problem is he calling out behaviors, and people don't like that. We need a media that's not going to be afraid to tell our side of the story. See, the media can create a hero and they can create a villain. And people don't ever ask a question. Muhammad Ali was a member or a former member of the Nation of Islam. They introduced Ali to Islam. Remember, people, he was born Cassius Clay. But they loved Muhammad. Oh, that's right. He developed Parkinson's and he couldn't do or say the things he did. See, that's why they've done what they did to Dr. King. Why do you think them white writers and directors a few years ago was hot about doing a Dr. King biopic? Because they want to control the image of Dr. King. Just like they want to control the image of Reverend Jackson and now Minister Farrakhan. Mr. Farrakhan's not anti-Semitic, he's anti-hypocrite. People need to understand that they're members of the Jewish community, not all, but enough who have done and said questionable things over the years. Why is it anti-Semitic for pointing that out? It's sort of like they want to be the only ones to get to judge everybody else, but nobody judge them. See, they don't want people looking at them and say, maybe these people got a reason why they don't trust them. It's not an accident that all around the globe, people find some distrusting about them. Let me give you an example. Rabbi Shmuley. Remember, Rabbi Shmuley supposed to be a friend of Michael Jackson. When Michael Jackson was alive, he was throwing some shade. But when Michael Jackson died, he was in full blast. Who did Rabbi Shmuley defend when she got caught being racist? Roseanne Barr, another racist. who I had planned out for years on YouTube was racist, and people was dismissing me. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about, Harvey. You don't know what you're talking about. Rose ain't racist. I'm like, okay. One of these days, she's gonna slip up, and it's gonna be out in the open, and you guys gonna have a different opinion. Rabbi Shmuley had the nerve to tell people, the black community, you must forgive. Wait a minute, hold on. She called 2 black women in less than a year apes. Then went after the former first lady and insulted her. The same Rabbi Shmuley stood with Steve Bannon, joking and laughing with him. The same Steve Bannon who's a white supremacist. So how can I not question some of these people that's quick to call Farrakhan anti-Semitic? So black folks, we forget our history. We supposed to forget the store owners that was in our community. And I keep going back to the King riots. Those store owners, those stores that burnt down in various communities across the country, cities. They was going after a lot of Jewish store owners. Or whites, but mostly Jewish, because here it is, you claim to be a victim. And I'm not saying those people was not victims of the Holocaust. But a lot of y'all wasn't even over there. But y'all using that to give cover. Today's Hollywood, a lot of Jewish producers and writers, and how do they project black people as if we're savages, as if we don't have no feelings, that we don't have an opinion, any of those negative things they put out about us. But the moment we say, hey, why is this? You're anti-Semitic. Farrakhan is not out there on social media every day, every week. What it is that Facebook knew that they effed up with the election. They have these data breaches, and they have a selective outrage machine going on. Like YouTube, if I do any commentaries about a white suspect, and the video can just say this guy did this today, and give a observation, or even talk about it, or just report it, YouTube got issues with it. They do not want you talking about white folk. White folk are trying to hang on to power, as much power as they can. Don't realize that they got a bullseye on them because they've done so much dirt to people around the globe. Now that doesn't mean that black folks, we got allies all of a sudden. Because we're in it by ourselves, to be perfectly honest with you. Well, you got other white folk calling out the hypocrisy of white folk, like your Father Flake called out white supremacists. It's something up. Mr. Farrakhan has never given any orders for anybody of the Nation of Islam to do any harm to somebody because they're Jewish, or because they're gay, or because they identify as a white or whatever. The problem is that you got people out here who are used to getting their way. And anytime people like myself push back against that, they lump us in that group. I told y'all they was gonna start going after Farrakhan hard. When you had what's her name? Alyssa Milano and them talking about Farrakhan. We had the media talking about why is Farrakhan Aretha Franklin. If you notice, all the black men that speak truth to power, family men, they can't stand them. Think about it. Jesse, Al, Lewis, Malcolm, Martin, Jeremiah, whoever the black man has been in this country who has spoke up about our people, they married, or they were married, or they got children. Think about that. While these men are not perfect, just think about it. They don't want their image to be shown of black men, so they vilify it. We as black Americans got to stop being afraid to call out white supremacy and stop being afraid of the Jewish community. There are people within the Jewish community who can't stand certain Jewish folk because they like to claim victimhood, manipulate everybody, and then turn around and want to tell you how you should conduct and carry yourself. They have no right to do that. YouTube and Facebook and rest of these entertainment sites, or these social media sites, I should say, you guys are playing with fire. You guys are sitting out here trying to pass lies and invent stuff on black folk for speaking up for ourselves or our people. One of these days, karma's gonna come back on y'all, and you ain't gonna never sit there and it's never gonna click that, yo, we did this to the black community. Now it's our turn. I pray that I'm here when karma start hitting them really hard. We as black folk gotta start standing with our people. I'm not saying defend hatred or violent behavior, but when you know somebody ain't saying anything and did anything, you gotta call it out. And what Facebook did was racist, and what the media did in its coverage, bringing up Farrakhan, trying to make like he's anti-Semitic, and I'm like, I've seen people anti-Semitic. I've heard the comments they made. Farrakhan ain't nowhere near that. Problem is they don't want an honest black man around. But the media present these negative images. The media has done a lot of this dirt. And we as black folk got to be willing to call it out. Because if not, they're going to keep doing what they're doing. The media has manipulated images and stuff. Farrakhan is challenging the networks to play that speech in its entirety. No interruptions, no nothing. Play it in its entirety. They do that myth of anti-Semitism will go away. And the press or the people that have been regurgitating other people's stories for years, their credibility gonna get shot. I hope that people start doing their own research. Because a lot of black people have been vilified unnecessarily that shouldn't have been vilified. But you throwing out the word anti-Semitism, they feel they're supposed to shut black folks down. It didn't. St. Sabina was packed that night. And a lot of black folk came out on social media. Some black celebrities say, hey, wait a minute. You just can't say or do those things. We as black people have to start voting, spending our money wise, and letting people know you just can't keep pushing these lies. Because like I said, I heard the speech, and not one time he referred to people in the way he's being portrayed. Controversial, young anti-Semite. They try to prejudice new generations like they try to do ours. It just ain't working anymore. But these social media sites, they think they too big to fail. Okay, you keep thinking that. Remember MySpace?